the hit that took down Limpopo's most feared gangster. It's not often that people celebrate a death, but in the village of Practiceer, there were cheers instead of tears. On the morning of September 22, 2023, something rare happened. A known gangster was taken down by the people he once terrorized. Cabello Foku, better known as KB, was found dead on the street. His body, bloodied and beaten, became the symbol of a community fed up with crime. Some danced, others whistled, and many raised their hands in the air in relief. His death wasn't quiet. It happened in broad daylight, and it spread like wildfire on social media. Images of his lifeless body were shared in WhatsApp groups within minutes. The man once feared for his violent crimes had become a lifeless figure lying near a dirt road. A broken bottle was found near his head, suggesting the violence he used on others had finally turned on him. By sunrise, the streets were buzzing, not with fear, but with relief. Some said they never thought this day would come. Even older residents, usually the quiet type, spoke loudly about how justice had been served. "We're not celebrating death," one man said. "We're celebrating freedom." Cabello's death wasn't just another crime story. It was a turning point. It was the moment fear gave way to courage. And the village of Practiceer would never forget it. Cabello KB, Foku's name was once spoken in whispers across Chubutse and surrounding villages. He was known not just for his crimes, but for the fear he spread. Locals believed he led a gang responsible for robberies, stabbings, and home invasions. Many people avoided traveling alone, especially at night, because of him. Young men admired his power, even though they feared what he could do. He was seen in different places, Bothashok, Ga Motodi, Practiceer. Yet police never seemed to catch him. Some residents claimed he even bribed officers to look the other way. Others said he used teenagers to carry out crimes while he stayed in the shadows. His victims were often ordinary people, just trying to live their lives. A taxi driver once said KB robbed him in broad daylight and threatened to kill him if he reported it. Even shop owners began closing early, hoping to avoid his wrath. Over time, his name became more than just a name, it became a warning. When something bad happened, people would say, "It must have been KB." But there was no proof, no arrests, no court case. Just fear. Until the morning it all ended. It was still dark when Cabello Foku went out looking for another victim. It was just past 4:30 a.m. when he found a man walking to work. The man didn't look rich, but that didn't stop KB. He pulled out a knife and stabbed him, trying to rob him of his belongings. But the victim, injured but not defeated, fought back. He screamed for help as they struggled, waking up neighbors nearby. Within minutes, people began pouring out of their homes. Shouts filled the air. "It's KB. He's the one." The man's cries had become a call for justice. The crowd grew quickly, some with sticks, others with whatever they could grab. They cornered KB on the street, near the intersection by a gravel path. People were tired of being afraid, and now they had him. What followed was brutal, and no one stepped in to stop it. Some say he begged for his life. But the mob had already made up their minds. By the time police were called, KB was gone. When authorities arrived at the scene, they were met with something unexpected. Instead of fear or sadness, the people were singing. Loud, proud voices filled the streets as KB's body was loaded into the forensic van. Some clapped, others chanted, and even elders were seen ululating. His white t-shirt was soaked with blood, and his black jacket was torn. Beside him lay a broken bottle, likely used during the attack. His face was badly bruised, with dried blood on the ground below him. Community members stood nearby, taking photos and recording videos. For many, this was not a moment of shame. It was a moment of victory. "We've been waiting for this," someone whispered. As the pathologist zipped the body bag, a woman shouted, "Now we can sleep again." Children peeked from doorways, their faces curious but calm. The atmosphere felt more like a parade than a crime scene. To the community, Cabello's death marked the end of a chapter they never wanted to begin with. He arrived as a threat, but left as a warning. After his death, people who had remained silent for years began to talk. One elderly man said, "He robbed my grandson last year, but we were too scared to report it." A woman from Ga Motodi claimed KB broke into her home while her children were sleeping. She never told anyone before, afraid he might come back. Another villager said he was mugged and stabbed, and everyone knew who did it, but no one said anything. The silence that protected KB began to break apart. For years, the fear he created had kept people quiet. But now, with him gone, voices were rising. People shared how he ruined lives, turned kids into criminals, and made fear a normal feeling. A local teacher said her students looked up to him, thinking crime was power. She hoped his death would change their minds. One taxi owner revealed he had been paying protection fees to KB's gang for months. Without him, those payments could finally stop. "We weren't cowards," someone said. "We were just trying to survive." But now that Cabello was dead, people were ready to tell the truth. And the truth revealed a man who had terrorized too many for too long. When police arrived at the scene, they were tight-lipped about what happened. They confirmed a death had occurred, but gave few details at first. Local officers said an investigation was underway, but many residents rolled their eyes. "Now they investigate?" a man asked. Residents claimed they had reported KB's crimes before, but nothing was done. Some believed the police were afraid, too. Others thought corruption had kept him out of jail. Police confirmed he had been on their radar, but no arrests had ever been made. A police spokesperson later stated that the case was now being treated as a murder investigation. But few people in Practiceer seemed worried. "Let them try to charge someone," a woman said. "We'll all say the same thing. We didn't see anything." The people saw it as justice, not crime. And they weren't about to turn in anyone from the crowd. For the first time, the power had shifted from fear to unity. Even the police couldn't ignore that something big had changed. With KB gone, people began to wonder what would happen to his gang. Many believed that without their leader, the group would fall apart. For weeks after his death, there were no robberies in Practiceer. No break-ins. No random stabbings. It was quiet, a quiet they hadn't felt in years. Some of KB's followers reportedly left town, afraid they would be next. Others tried to blend in, pretending they were never part of the group. But the people had changed, they were watching now. Anyone acting suspicious was quickly reported to neighbors. A local council member said they were organizing community patrols to keep crime down. Youth programs were started to help teens who might have been involved. Churches held vigils, asking for peace and healing. What once was a town living in fear had become a town fighting back. Cabello KB's death didn't just end a life, it ended a legacy of violence. And for many, that was worth celebrating. Months after KB's death, Practiceer was still talking about it. The streets felt safer, and people stayed out later. Children played outside without their parents calling them in early. Even shopkeepers said business was better. The community had changed, not just because the threat was gone, but because they now believed in their power. They had taken back control. But there were still reminders. The spot where KB died remained marked by dark stains and broken glass. Some say it should be cleaned, others say it should stay as a warning. A mural was painted on a wall nearby, not to honor him, but to show that crime doesn't pay. His story became a lesson shared in classrooms and at dinner tables. No one forgot the fear he caused. But no one forgot the courage that ended it either. Cabello Foca's fall became a story of justice, pain, and community strength. And Practiceer would never be the same again.